Welcome to Flow Made Simple. I'm Coach Lachlan, and today we're learning the Sentinel Flow, an epic 3-part flow combining strong stances, smooth transitions, and powerful landmarks. Now this flow is an epic full body workout, and right now you can learn it in just 5 simple steps. So grab your steel mace and let's flow. To build today's Sentinel Flow, we have 5 steps, and the first 3 are going to be the 3 main parts of the flow. They're going to be different drills. So we'll start with that first one. Our first step today is going to be a drill with alternating shields in lateral lunge, and this is what it looks like. I'm going to start in warrior stance, both hands bottom of the mace. I'll bring one hand up to the top of the mace, my opposite leg to the high hand will step out to lateral lunge, and I'll drop down into this posture, exhaling to increase my core rigidity, so I have a lot more stability here. Next, I'm going to pull the mace up and in towards my body, pivot into front lunge, and then shield press forwards, also exhaling. And then I'll bring the mace back in, pivot back to the front, and drop it down. And then I'll just repeat on the other side. So I'll do a simple prayer switch, opening the tail hand, prayer switching the mace to the other side, and then ending up in that same posture. And you'll notice that I switched which leg was bent. And then I'll pull the mace in, pivot towards the head of the mace, and then shield press. Bring it back in and drop back down. And then prayer switch and simply repeat. So pulling the mace in, pivoting to the side, shield pressing, bringing it back in, and then simply repeating. And the goal of this is to be very stable throughout these stances. I don't have to be super deep in these lunges, but I do want to feel very stable. The second key is to make sure that my prayer switches are very smooth. I want to make sure that I have good control over the mace throughout this entire drill. And the third thing that I will mention is that you have a few options about how to shield press. And this is how the individual's kind of artistic choice shows up. So for example, I can do a shield press where I go from my cross body bottom, that's what this posture is called, and then I'll push straight into my shield as I pivot. I could also pull the mace in, pivot around, and then shield, which is what I taught you a few moments ago. And another way is to actually drop the head of the mace out and around the body and then push into shield like so. And that one's the most circular version. So you can see how you can cut different lines as you go from one posture into another. And that's a great way to have a little bit of fun and put your own personal spin on this flow or any flow. So that's the first drill. Once you master it, you're ready for the second. The second drill uses something called a yin-yang pass, and this is our second step, of course. The yin-yang pass looks like this. I'm simply going to be flipping the mace over as I pass it from one hand to the other. Now the drill to use this in looks like this. I'm going to come into warrior stance once more. Both hands bottom of the mace. Bring one hand to the top of the mace again, drop it down. And then I'm going to step out to the side into lateral lunge with the same leg as the hand near the head of the mace. So I'm stepping out like so. It's the opposite of what we did for the shield. And then next I'm gonna practice my yin yang. So I'm gonna push the tail down, palm faces out. To do the yin yang, both of my palms face away while the mace is upside down. And then I'll simply drop the tail, continue to flip the mace over, and catch. And you can see that as I did that, I switched which leg is bent. And this is important for the Sentinel Flow, and you'll see why later. So same thing, I'm gonna push the tail down, make sure the mace flips over, palm faces out, and then flip it over, and switch which leg is bent. And so I wanna make this really nice and smooth. I wanna time it. So I'm doing my yin-yang pass as I pass the middle, and then I simply come back again. And so this is a simple little drill to do. And the keys I'm looking for are, again, to remain stable in my stance, even if not super deep in the lunge, and to really get the smooth aspect of this transition down. I want to make sure that it's a very fluid motion. It doesn't have to be fast, but it should be a consistent speed. I don't ever want to make one part of it really fast and another part of it really slow. I want to make sure it's an even speed throughout. So practice that second drill. That's gonna give you practice with the yin yang and continued practice pushing between your lateral lunges, which is necessary for the Sentinel Flow. Now up for the third. This is our third and final landmark that we are including, the final drill, the final really new thing. And that is going to be the half arrow and the full arrow. So the half arrow looks like this. Bring one hand to the top of the mace, bringing it from hip to shoulder, and then extending the mace out, mace head over the same side elbow. And in this way, by supporting the mace like this, I have a lot of stability and a lot of strength right here. The full arrow is when I extend all the way out. And my two cues here are that one, the hand near the head of the mace, the palm must face up. So my shoulder is in external rotation. And second, I do not want to be tipping my body. I want to have a nice, straight, tall posture, long spine with that palm facing up. And that's my full arrow. So before we add in the lower body, you can practice a few repetitions of half arrow and full arrow. I always recommend starting with half arrows because it puts a lot less pressure on the shoulder joint and on the bicep. But once you feel comfortable to be doing your full arrows, they're a fantastic movement to train stability and strength through the whole shoulder joint and the arm as well, because you're literally holding a weight as far from your own center line as you possibly can. So once you've got your half arrow and your full arrow down, now you can add in the legs. And this is what finishes off our step 3 here. So here's what it looks like. I'm gonna come back to warrior stance, bring one hand top of the mace, step out with the opposite leg once more into that same posture we did for the shield, cross body bottom. And then I'm going to prayer switch the mace, hip to shoulder, and extend into either half arrow or full arrow. And then I'll bring the mace in towards my body, prayer switch, and repeat on the other side. So whichever you want, you can alternate half arrows like so, switching which leg is bent, or you can alternate full arrows, switching which leg is bent. Both of these versions serve the Sentinel flow, so it's up to you with what feels natural and what you can use based on the weight of your mace and the strength of your body on a given day. So that brings us through our 3 steps, the 3 drills. So now we're gonna put it all together into the Sentinel flow. And if you like this flow, you will love the birthday flow that I'm teaching for free on YouTube next Saturday, September 20th. I'll share more details at the end of this video, but you should absolutely be there because once I finish that class, I'm deleting it forever. More details later. So step 4 now, the Sentinel flow. We're gonna practice the full upper body right now. That's our step 4. So here's what it looks like. I'm going to demonstrate it and talk through it here. So I'll begin in my warrior stance. I'm gonna bring one hand to the top of the mace, drop it down across my body. From here, I'm going to pivot to the side and shield press, just like we did before. From here, this is the one tricky part I would say, I'm going to slide my tail hand up the mace, gripping near the top of the knurling, right underneath the hand even. And then I'm going to pull the mace down and flip it over. So the mace head is pointing up. I'm going to flip it over so the tail is up. And now you'll see him in a yin yang. And I came back to face forwards. Next, I'm going to drop the tail of the mace out, and you can finish your yin yang with one hand on the mace. So I can hold here. If you do half arrows, hold the mace in close. And if you're doing the full arrows and want the challenge, extend the mace all the way from your body. Now finally, I suppose not finally, but next, I'm gonna tuck the tail behind my body, head out, drop the mace through, bring it back up, and extend out into either half arrow or full arrow. And now finally, I'm going to switch the mace back down and simply repeat the flow on the other side. So I'm going to pivot and shield. Slide the tail hand up, flip the mace over, palm faces away, extend out to the side as far as you would like. Tip the tail behind the body against the elbow, swing through, catch the head of the mace, and extend out into half arrow or full arrow. And then switch down. So again, pivot, shield, slide the hand up, yin yang as the mace goes vertical, extend out to the side. Tip the tail behind the arm, swing through, half arrow or full arrow, and then switch. shield. Slide the hand up, yin yang. Extend out to the side, tip the tail behind, bring it up, half arrow or full arrow. And then switch down. So throughout this, we're doing the yin yang pass to get it from one hand to the other, and we're doing prayer switches to go from the arrow back into our crossbody bottom. Those are the only two switches we're really doing, and the rest of it is just gonna be the landmarks. So that's step 4. Once you've got the upper body down, once you understand it, now we're ready to add in the lower body. And this 5th step is the full Sentinel flow. So you can join me here, both hands bottom of the mace. I'll bring one hand to the top of the mace, step out with the opposite leg to the high hand, exhale. Pull the mace in, pivot, shield. From here, slide the tail hand up the mace, flip the mace over as you come through center. You can see that my palms are facing out. And then I'm going to extend the mace out from the yin yang into what I would call like a hammer. And then I'm going to tuck the tail behind, swing through, and catch an arrow, extending out like so. And then I'll simply prayer switch down. And I realize there's one thing I forgot to mention at the outset, which is that every single time I'm doing a new landmark, I'm gonna be switching which leg is bent, except for when I go from arrow back into the reset position, which is this. So from here, I'm gonna do the same thing again. Shield. I'm bent leg over with the shield. Slide the tail hand up, flip the mace over, palm faces out, switch to hammer. Switching which leg is bent so the hammer is out over the leg. I'm gonna tuck the mace behind, swing through, switching which leg is bent, and extend to arrow once more. And then switch down, keeping that same leg bent. So I'm in crossbody bottom, and now pivot and shield. Shield. Flip the mace upside down, palms face out, extend to hammer. Switch which leg is bent, switch to arrow. Switch which leg is bent, and then pull it in and switch down. Pivot, shield. Slide the tail hand up, yin yang, extend out into hammer over that front leg, tuck the tail behind, swing through, arrow over the front leg, switch down. One more on each side. Pivot and shield. Slide the hand up, flip the mace over yin yang, over, and the hammer is over the bent leg. Tuck the mace tail behind, swing through, switch which leg is bent, and arrow. Switch, shield, yin yang to hammer. Tuck the tail behind, switch to arrow. And then you can switch down and come back to warrior stance. So you can see that that particular flow recycles itself. We're doing the same 3 movements, 3 main landmarks, and we're simply repeating them while we're switching which leg is bent. And that is the Sentinel flow. Now next week I'm teaching a 60-minute mace flow class, teaching a new flow that's gonna be a ton of fun. And it's happening on Saturday, September 20th. Now, this is a free class on YouTube. However, I'm deleting it off YouTube the moment it finishes. So you have to make sure that you're there. And if you want the recording, if you want extra workouts, and if you want an exclusive Q&A on Zoom with yours truly after the call, after the class, then you can sign up to be VIP for free. So you can upgrade to VIP, get those 3 bonuses, and you'll get so much more out of the flow that I'm gonna be teaching because you'll have those extra resources. So upgrade to VIP for free right now by clicking the link in the description down below. I will see you next Saturday, and may the mace be with you.